2 of the application. Got it. On page 2 of the application, there's a document called City of Boulder Board of Zoning Adjustment Meeting Guidelines. This is actually a great little document that is put together to clarify some of the issues that come up and clarify the process that is followed or happens at virtually every meeting. This is putting it all in one sheet of paper to make it clearer. So I do appreciate that. Generally, what we do is start out with the numbers of projects. We only have one project today, and it's a 2305 Forest, BOZA number 2022-00020, and a request for a setback variance. Fairly straightforward, but we will follow, again, the guidelines we've been using. Do we need to, I don't think we need to talk about the rules, the virtual rules. I think that's covered in this meeting guideline page as well. So we'll just get started, and initially we'll have the staff make a presentation. After the staff has made a presentation, the applicant will make a presentation. Each are given 15 minutes to make these presentations. We'll have an open call for response from the citizens. If people have comments, they have 3 minutes to make those comments. And then at that point, once that's finished, we will go into board discussion and hopefully come to some resolution. So if we could we have Mr. Robbie Weiler come and give us a presentation from the staff point of view.
And before I start, Devin, did you need to give your quick presentation? Is that something we need to do before I go into the item?
I do have the slides up for the rules of decorum and presentation.
Oh, great, great.
Mr. Chair, if you would like, I can definitely present.
If you're ready, let's go. Yeah, that'll be great. This is also available on the Boulder website as well. But please go ahead.
Awesome, fantastic. Are you all seeing my screen, correct? Awesome. Well, thank you all for being here at the BOZA meeting. My name is Devin Saunders, and I'm the SAC Board Secretary for the Board of Zoning Adjustments. Today, we have one item, and then there is a public comment option for this item later on in the meeting. For this, the city has engaged with the community to co-create a vision for productive, meaningful, and inclusive civic conversations. This vision supports physical and emotional safety for community members, as well as board and commission members, and the democracy for people of all ages, identities, lived experiences, and political perspectives. Some of the following are examples of rules and decorum found in the Boulder Revised Code and other guidelines that support this vision. These will be upheld during tonight's meeting. Firstly, all remarks and testimony shall be limited to matters related to city business. No participant shall make threats or use other forms of intimidation against any person. Obscenity, racial epithets, and other speech and behavior that disrupts or otherwise impedes the ability to conduct the meeting are prohibited. Participants are required to identify themselves using the name they are commonly known by and must display their whole name before being allowed to speak online. Currently, we only allow audio testimony, and if you could, as well as listing your name, name your address if possible. We are in a Zoom webinar format for the most easiest way of public participation. When it comes to the point for public comment, we will let you know at that time. And down here, there is a little raise hand function. At that time, when we have public comment, you can just click this and I will call on you for the public comment. I do know that we have one person on the phone here tonight. So if you are interested in public comment at that time, all you have to do is press *9 and you raise your hand. And with that, Mr. Chair, I'll leave it back to you.
Okay, thank you, Devin. Very good. So now we'll have Mr. Weiler give the presentation from the staff point of view.
Okay, and let me just share my screen real quick. Okay, everybody should see the presentation for the next item. This is docket number BOZ 2022-00020. The address is 2305 Forest Avenue, and this is a setback variance. As part of a proposal to construct a new second-story partially covered rooftop deck atop the single-family house, the applicant is requesting a variance to the minimum site adjacent to street setback standards for a principal structure in the RL1 zoning district. The resulting side west setback will be approximately 7.6 feet taken from the proposed deck railings, where 12.5 feet is required and where approximately 7.6 feet taken from the existing attached garage's west face exists today. Section of the land use code to be modified, section 971 Boulder Revised Code 1981. And up there on the screen, you see the location of the property. As mentioned in the description, there is a side adjacent to street, that's the west or left setback along 23rd. And that is what is being impacted by the variance request this evening. Provided within the application materials with an additional one provided this morning per Devin's email, there were 4 letters of written support from the neighbors to the east and west. And the one that you received today was the neighbor to the north at 2310 Glenwood. So we did receive 4 neighbor responses, and all 4 of those were in support of the item this evening. And these are the existing conditions. Again, the west left setback is the one that the board is talking about tonight. And the overall proposal or project is for a second-story addition or a pop top to the house. And a part of that is for an elevated rooftop deck above the existing garage. And you can see the garage right there in the driveway. It is a rear entry garage. So the driveway is off of 23rd Street or the west street. And then you see all of those conditions on the survey provided to the right. And then this is just a street view corner of the existing conditions. And then I'll talk about this in a little bit here in a minute, but there is a project to add a second story, including the partially covered deck. And the images you see on the right with that yellow shading, that's where that second story addition is going to be added on to. So tonight, what the board is considering is a setback variance for a new partially covered upper deck. Again, this is a site adjacent to street west setback. And the request is for approximately 7.6 feet taken from the proposed railings, where 12.5 feet is required and 7.6 feet exists today. The blue shaded area is the area of the subject deck, and the red line that you see on my exhibit, that is that 7.6 feet where that is being taken from. And the reason this is a 12.5 foot requirement is because it is a site adjacent to street. So it's not an interior side, which would otherwise require a 5 foot setback. This is a site adjacent to street, which requires a 12.5 foot setback in RL1 properties. And the existing elevations of the existing house, the above image, it is worth noting that there is an approved design via building permit SFD 22-00349, and that middle image that you see on the exhibit, and this was also provided within the application materials, that is the by right or meeting code proposal. The reason the applicant is in front of the board this evening is to see if they can have that deck area enlarged. The approved roof cover and everything is to remain the same. It is just the decking, the actual railings extending out to along the west, directly above the west face of the garage. So tonight is specific to allowing that essentially larger deck area above the existing garage. And all of that was detailed pretty clearly, in my opinion, within the application, that most of this has already been approved, but the request tonight is to allow that, I think, roughly 4 to 5 foot extension of the proposed deck. And then this shows you some of the floor plans. The existing is on the left. You can see there the garage, the rear entry garage. And then on the right, we have the existing lower level, which is the lower right image. And then we have the proposed upper level. And again, I shaded the blue box. That is the proposed deck area. And within that, you see a purple dashed line. That's where that 12.5 foot marker, setback marker, is being taken from. And a little bit in the way of some zoning metrics, it is zoned RL1. It's an 8574 square foot lot where 7,000 would be the minimum. The existing and proposed building coverage max allowed for this site is around 2765 square feet. The proposed, and this includes the addition or anything, the proposed is not to be changed because there is no additional building coverage or expansion of the building footprint as a part of the overall project, let alone the variance within or in front of the board this evening. So there is no change in footprint, and the larger deck does not change the coverage size or calculations. Existing and proposed floor area, the max for this lot would be around 3,815 square feet. Including the addition, the second story addition, the applicant homeowner is proposing around 2,070 square feet. This has already been approved through the building permit, and increasing the second story and larger deck does not change the floor area because decks are not considered floor area if they are open, such as this one. And then side yard wall articulation and side yard bulk plane, due to the design and the scope of work, are not impacted as a result of the shifting of the railings for the decking. And building height, the proposed, including the second story, is around 25 feet under the maximum 35-foot allowance. And then a little bit in the way of the history, the home was built circa 1957. And as I'm sure you've noticed, the existing house the garage sits within that 12.5-foot setback. So it is currently a non-conforming due to setbacks as it sits today. And the applicant is asking that we allow the deck to be built directly above and not set back from the existing west face of the garage. And the building permit is everything else has already been reviewed and approved by the building permit. So if this, pending the decision of the board tonight, if this were to be approved, the applicant would still have to go back for revisions to the building permit. So that's still a step that needs or would need to occur. And within the application materials, the applicant did respond to criterion H1 and H5. And all things considered, staff will be or is recommending support of the variance item as it has been presented within the application. We do recognize that there does appear to be a by right design solution, but it also comes down to the request of the variance and its impacts to surrounding properties. And when considering the type of expansion from what has already been approved, which is roughly a 4 to 5 foot bump to the west, it does not impact bulk plane, side yard wall articulation. Visually, there is minimal change from what has already been approved. And staff felt that this was a minor modification to make it a more functional space for the homeowners, as was detailed within the application. So that being said, staff is again recommending support of the application or the variance application as it has been presented within the materials. And I'll leave it at that. If you have any other questions, I can definitely answer those.
There we go. And does anyone on the board have any questions of Robbie? And Nikki, yes. You're muted.
Thanks, Jack. So Robbie, this is just kind of out of curiosity. So you mentioned that the garage currently exists in the setback. So if this expansion was not happening, then that would have been allowed because the house is built before the code was created. So the only thing that's triggering this is the fact that they are, popping the top and expanding. Is that correct?
That's correct. And if you look at the diagrams of the proposal and what has already been approved through the permit, the addition is set back, and they designed the new, I call it a rooftop deck, to meet that 12.5. That's why it's not directly above the garage. So what they're asking tonight is to build it directly above, which would be within that 12.5. So even if a house is within a setback, non-conforming due to setbacks, any new development has to meet today's code. or else you need to seek a variance to allow it. And that's why they're in front of us tonight.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? I have a question. You mentioned in your presentation a number of approvals that the project has already been through.
Yep.
Have those been building department approvals or the staff level planning department? How does that break down?
That is the building permit. So usually a building permit happens after a BOZA application. This is kind of reversed.
Yeah.
Once building permit approval was received, it was requested, I'm assuming, requested by the homeowner for a larger deck that's within the setback. So that's why they're in front of you tonight after already receiving full building permit approval. So if this does get approved and that deck is to be enlarged, they would have to go back to the building permit to get it revised.
Oh,
So all the approvals I was talking about was the building permit approval, which usually happens after BOZA does.
that's why I was a little confused. But maybe that's not the only reason I was confused.
But they're wanting to change the design from what was approved under that building permit.
Okay. Thank you. Any additional questions? Yes, Katie.
I was just going to ask a question, and maybe this isn't the right time, but just on that extra email from the neighbor on Glenwood that we got this afternoon. And I don't know if the homeowner is going to address that, or if I just wasn't quite clear on the issue that was brought up in the email. So
I could touch on that.
Okay.
So I'm assuming you're talking about the right of way and information. That is that's not even a zoning thing. That's not a BOZA thing. So I did direct the homeowner to the appropriate staff who can kind of tackle that question or those comments. So that was not pertinent to the variance application. So I didn't make a point to bring it up to the board, but I did direct them to the staff who could assist.
Okay, thanks.
Great. Any additional questions? Okay, thank you, Robbie. Much appreciated as always. At this point, we'd like to ask the applicant if they're available to make a presentation to the board. Can we work that one out, Devin?
Yep, she's just been promoted to panelist and she'll be here just a quick second.
Oh, congratulations on her.
Hello, I am Ellie Merhead. I am the applicant. How are you all?
We're doing well, Ellie. It's good to have you here. Thank you again for the presentation you put together. And at this point, you've got 15 minutes to make more of a presentation. Could you do a big favor and for the record, give your name and address?
My name is Ellie Merhead and my address is 2350 Kenwood Drive in Boulder.
Great, thank you. It's one of our wonderful formalities that we have to go through.
Yes, I forgot the address, sorry.
Right.
And I don't have a presentation because I always know that Robbie does a really thorough presentation. So I didn't want to repeat what he just said, but I wanted to be here to answer any additional questions. And I can clarify the reason why we did the process backwards is because the client is having a baby in March. And so we didn't want to delay the permit, the building permit, so that the house can be ready for the baby. So I know it's a little awkward, but that's the reason why we chose to do it this way.
Some things are more important.
Yeah.
So at this point in time, we'd probably like to have the board ask you questions. Does anyone in the board have any questions of Ellie? I guess not. Okay, well then we will thank you very much for your time and we'll go to public comments. Devin, do we have public commenters out there?
Yeah, so I am still seeing one attendee in the queue here. So if you are interested in public comment, now would be the time. If you could just raise your hand by chance. Being that you're on the phone, you can also go ahead and click *9 if you're interested.
It's very possible that is the homeowner. She wanted to listen in.
Okay.
Fair enough.
So in the absence of public comment, we'll move on. Thank you again, Ellie, for your time. We're going to move on and go to discussion of the board. Anybody on the board want to open discussion on this? Nikki.
I'm just gonna say that I'm in support of this application, and just something that we've been saying very frequently. It's very nice to see the support from the neighbors. I like y'all's form letter that you've sent out explaining the project and then having people sign it. I thought that was really nice. So it's always nice when neighbors can talk to each other. So thank you for providing that with your application as well. But I'm in support of this project.
Great, great. Katie, any thoughts? Oh, you're muted.
Muted. No, I'm in support too. It seems pretty straightforward, and you guys have done all the due diligence, and as Nikki said, getting neighbors buy-in. So I'm also in support.
Okay, great, thank you. Maureen?
Yeah, I agree. I think especially having that building permit approved, we know that everything's in order, and it's just a very small optimization of space that you're asking for. So I think it makes sense to approve as well.
Great, great. Thank you very much. I agree with you all. Actually, to your point that this is a small but optimized piece of space makes a lot of sense. It's probably will be more used than anyone can imagine as I go out on that deck. So I would say I am in support too, which basically gives us a straw poll. Is there a member out there that would like to make a motion for approval of this project or denial?
I'll make a motion.
Great.
A second.
Do I need to formally like say the docket number or no?
Pretty much. Let's do the docket
Okay.
number.
Yeah, so I make a motion to approve docket number BOZ 2022-00020.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
A second. Sorry, my
Maureen
daughter
seconds.
is dressing up and it's cracking me up. Sorry.
Shall we all see or no?
Yeah, come on, come here. Oh, hold on. Let me.
Usually we see pets.
Well, you gotta move over there.
Oh, wow. Oh, great.
She's asking if she can wear this to a formal wedding next summer.
Oh, very good. Very good. But okay, moving on. At this point, we've got a second, and so I'm going to go just do a roll call to pull this one out. Nikki, yay or nay?
Yay.
Yay. Okay. Katie, yay or
Yay.
nay? Maureen?
Yay.
And I vote yay as well. Congratulations, your project has moved through and is approved as submitted. So thank you very much.
Thank you all so much.
So at this point, we don't have a whole lot of other substantial work to do other than a few items that might come up here. So we're looking at an approval for the last month's meeting notes, minutes actually. Anybody have any concerns about those minutes that you want to bring up? Nope.
I wasn't there at the last meeting, so I'm not.
It was so exciting. Okay.
Did I miss the minutes, Devin? Are they coming out separately?
Yeah, so thank you for giving me that chance to address that. I was curious on the exact minutes that you, Mr. Chair, that you were discussing. I do not have the minutes from the last month's meeting finished, but do anticipate them to be ready for next month's meeting.
Okay. So at that point, you'll be covering 2 meetings in the minutes?
Correct.
Okay. So that's what happened to the minutes. There we go. So we'll put any corrections or whatever off until next month to the next meeting. Are there other matters from the board? Anybody have any concerns? The only thing I can think of, I think you got, all of you, with the exception of me, have much more time on your time to serve board. They're looking for, if you know anyone who might want to serve on the board, they're looking for volunteers that would need to let the city know by, I think it's January 30th, that they're interested. So if you know of someone, who, that'd be great. I think they're always looking for someone.
Yeah, I forwarded the ad. I may know someone, so.
Okay, good. Your daughter, maybe.
Well, she would have an opinion, that's
Yeah,
for
she
sure.
would have an opinion. So no other matters from the board. Any matters from the city attorney?
No, I don't have any. It's good to see you all.
Good to see you all. We may be out of here in record time. Robbie, any matters come up from your part of the world, or are there any changes we can look forward to in the next
You
year?
had to bring up getting done in record time, didn't you? No, this won't take long. First off, yes, please, thank you for bringing that up. If you know of anybody who would be interested in BOZA or any of the boards, forward information to them, let them know. We always love to see applicants, just applications in general. But yeah, Jack, I think your term ends in March, April. Pending if you decide to kind of apply again, that's your decision. But it's always nice to see new applications come in, and we'll see where that goes. So if you know of anybody, forward them the information. We'd love to see those. And then number two is I mentioned the ADU presentation. Maureen, I don't think you were at that meeting, but we have somebody from staff wanting to present the new ADU standards that are kind of about to make their way through planning board council. Lisa is her name. She's a colleague of mine, has offered to present at the February 14th meeting for BOZA. I also brought up that it might be good to do kind of an ADU standards 101 crash course type thing for any members who would be interested. It sounded like there was some interest in that last time. So anticipate somebody, probably Lisa, coming to the February 14th meeting. I also wanted to verify that people would be there, because it'd be nice if, the whole board was there, just so we could have that presentation and it be presented to all 5 of the board members. So if you could just kind of check your calendars out, let me know. We're anticipating February 14th. Yesterday was the application deadline for the meeting, and I have yet to verify or get confirmation from our intake team, but we may not have any actual variance items. So it might be a good opportunity for us still to meet and dedicate that time just for the ADU presentation. So stay tuned on all that. Just check your calendars. Let me know. I'll make sure Jill also knows. She's in Germany right now, so I'll make sure she's aware that that's what we're hoping to do. So that's all from me at this point.
That is Valentine's Day.
I was going to bring that up too. I forgot. And it's
Okay.
Valentine's Day, so we'd love to see you at the meeting. But if you have other plans, just let us know, like always.
Okay. Does any board members have, just off the top of your head, questions about ADUs? It's been kind of a moving target for a while. So any questions, anything specific that you might want to have addressed would be good to think about.
Jack, I don't have a question on ADUs, but Robbie, I just want some clarification. So are we going to get an ADU 101 presentation before the February 14th? Because Maureen, I know you weren't at the meeting, but the concern that I had was I didn't really know much about what the history of the ADU issue was before staff made a presentation about what they were going to do to change it. So are we thinking of everything happening on February 14th? Are we still? So I guess my question is, what's the utility of that? Like, if I'm sitting in an hour meeting and I'm getting kind of the ADU 101 30 minutes before I get the presentation about all the things that are going to change, I understand timing and people's schedules are very busy. I just want to make sure that if people are asking us to do something or asking our opinions of something, I just want to make sure that I have ample time to just digest the information before I say I'm confused or yes or no.
Of course, and that's very valid. And you will be getting this a week prior, just like any other BOZA item. We'll post it online. I believe Aaron and Devin will still have to post this meeting. It's going to be, I'm assuming, open to the public. But this information that Lisa will ultimately provide will be given to you a week prior, just like any other BOZA item. So you'll have a week to kind of see what is to come.
In your opinion, but how many projects come through BOZA that are related somehow to an ADU? Maybe not directly, but maybe even indirectly. I mean, is it half the projects, do you think, or do you think it's more?
Oh, it's less than half. I just provided Lisa a few months ago with those stats from like 5 years on. And I don't have it in front of me right now, but it's been at least the last few years, especially since the last round of updates, it's been usually a few a year. And usually that is size variances for ADUs, which is really the only thing specific to ADUs that the board can consider. So typically it's 2 to 3 a year. It's been that way for the past few years, and 2 to 3 is a minimum portion of the usually 20 to 25 that the board sees. And then we also see roughly about 20 to 25 administrative level variances. So ADUs tend not to be one of the bigger BOZA items, but it has kicked up a bit in the last few years.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And
yeah,
sorry, Robbie, I'm not trying to.
Don't be sorry.
We just broke the record and then we lost it.
I know.
It's my fault. Y'all can blame me at the end of the day. But Robbie, I'm not trying to belabor the point, but I just want to make sure that I have all the information. So will we be provided, is it Lisa? Will we provide,
Lisa, yes.
Will we be provided Lisa's entire presentation a week before so that we can digest the entire presentation a week before?
That is what I am under the impression of. Is it's going to be a presentation of the evaluation that they just conducted. And we will post that on the website for you and anybody else a week prior, just like any other BOZA package. So you should have what you are going to be presented with for that 7 days.
And will that also include the ADU the historical information? So for me, having an understanding of the history before I see the presentation will help put it in context for me.
Yep. And I'm working with Lisa right now, and I'll be sure to include something like that, just so you have that week to kind of digest what you need to. So I'll work with Lisa and try to get something, and we'll be sure to have that ready for you a week prior.
Thank you, Robbie.
Yep, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Robbie. At this point, unless there is some additional information or additional input, I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you all very much. You guys are great.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good
Have a
night.
great night.
Thank
Night.
you.
And I watch out for your Valentine's Day plans. Robbie's trying to.
I'm watching.
Robbie's
Yeah.
gonna be
Don't do
our
that. Don't do that.
Robbie's gonna be our Valentine.
I'm gonna
Oh.
be Cupid that night. Fine.
Okay.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Hi.
Take care.